Find the product 4x squared plus 6x minus 5, all multiplied by 3x minus 4. There's two different ways you can go about solving this problem. You could set it up to be like distributive property, where you split the binomial into two pieces, 3x times the entire polynomial, 4x squared plus 6x minus 5, and then add that to the second half of the binomial, multiplied once again by the entire trinomial. Then you would just distribute 3x into every value inside the parentheses and distribute -4 into all the values in the parentheses, and then you would work to combine like terms until you got one of these answers. The method I'm going to use for the sake of the video is just stacking these two polynomials on top of each other as if we're doing a regular multiplication problem. So I would have 4x squared plus 6x minus 5, and then underneath it I would have 3x minus 4. We would multiply it just like we would multiply any other numbers. Just like we would multiply any other whole numbers. So let's start here. We have -4 times -5 would give us positive 20. Now the thing here is that that 20, when we're doing multiplication with polynomials, that entire 20 will stay here. We're not going to put, normally when we multiply like this, we put 0 and we carry the 2. We're not going to do that here. When we're dealing with polynomials, when we're multiplying with variables, the entire number stays. Then we have -4 times positive 6x, which will give us negative 24x. Then -4 times 4x squared would be negative 16x squared. And just as an easy reminder, anytime you're multiplying opposite signs, negative times a positive, you will always have a negative as the result. Anytime you are multiplying the same sign, positive times a positive or a negative times a negative, positive will always be the final result. Now let's put a 0 placeholder and move on to the next step. So 3x times -5 would give us negative 15x. 3x times 6x would give us 18x squared. X times x is x squared, and it'd be positive. 3x times 4x squared would be 12x cubed. X squared times x would go to x to the third. Now what we can do is we can take a look at our answer choices and start to eliminate. We know that 12x cubed will be at the front of this equation, so it can't be c and it cannot be d. We also know that a positive 20 is definitely going to be at the back of this equation, but that doesn't help us eliminate any more answer choices. What's going to help us figure out the correct answer are these two middle pieces. So let's start with this one. -24 plus -15, adding two negatives together, we would add like normal and they would stay negative. So 24 plus 15 would give us 39, and it would be a -39x. At that point, you could mark B as your correct answer and continue moving on with the test, but for the sake of the video, I'll show you the last step, which is -16 plus 18. Adding a negative is the same as subtracting a positive, so this is just like 18 minus 16, which would give us 2x squared, and the sign is determined by the bigger number. The biggest number carries the sign. 18 is the biggest number. It has a positive, so we will give it a positive sign. And that matches positive 2x squared in answer choice B, making it our correct answer.